part of what we do. And I think the biggest joy, if you're sort of talking about a journey's end or the start of the next phase, was we opened for business, so to speak, with a service informally the last weekend in May, and we invited all our end users to come and participate in that service. So church began just as you'd maybe expect a traditional Anglican service to begin. I guess we're sort of Anglo-Catholic in flavour, if people wanting to sort of pigeonhole us a bit. Church began with the announcement that there would be other activities running within the building and the community during the course of the Sunday service. So the kind of slot where you might, say, send children out to Sunday school traditionally, we were able to say, well, there's messy play in this room, there's rhyme time in that room, there's a nature walk for parents who've still got children in buggies to take them off around the gorge. There's what we'd normally do for Sunday school upstairs. Sort of wander out and see what happens. And that was a tremendous, well, both Saturday and Sunday we did that. And we had all the Sure Start Children's Centre people and other council staff, independent youth work charity, various people came and participated in that, people from the Wildlife Trust, the local community police support officers. The icing on the cake was the official opening. We've given this worship space that we're in at the moment, the church part of the church, the dedication of All Saints. So All Saints Day is the 1st of November, and our Bishop Laurie Green came to dedicate the sacred space on that day. But it was the community funders who had made the sacred space possible, who came, spoke, participated, helped read lessons, and at the end of the day had done in the process quite unlikely things, like paid an invoice for a cross to be on the wall at the front of a church out of a pool of government money. And I think actually got to a point where they understood why, and it was okay. Although the building's now managed by the Church of England, we've had a number of ecumenical partners over the course of the journey. I guess a journey of about 10 years, really, since the land was acquired. And we've signed a special ecumenical document saying that we welcome people of all faiths and none. And I've worked hard to invite people from the other denominations, ministers from other traditions, to come and speak and share at various services and events over the course of the last 6 months. Special times again would be midnight mass this year, Christmas Eve. A whole row of Sikhs arrived just before the service and just said very genuinely, Christ's part of our faith and culture too. We see Christmas as something we should be celebrating. We've come to reach out the hand of friendship to you. And some of them did come forward and receive the bread and the wine during communion. Others simply sort of stood there and asked if they could have God's blessing prayed over them. That was exciting. We have a parenting skills cafe on a Wednesday morning, and they were looking at weekend activities for children. I was able to come and talk about some of the church, children's and youth work and Sunday school and all of that kind of stuff. We begin our day from a church point of view most days with morning prayer at 9:30, and it's now become normal for me to wander through the building and say to people who are running other events, what's happening today? Can we say a prayer for you? Do you want to join us? And by the same token, you hear noise in the background at the moment, we've got a cafe that is open 10 till 4 every day, includes lunches on a Thursday and Friday. And the amount of contacts we've made through that, people will just see, oh, this is church, there's a place to pray, a place to light a candle. And we'll come through and engage for the first time through those sort of simple, traditional, hands-on way of engaging with God. And then that may lead to more kind of profound and in-depth happenings in their lives later on. Had whole families coming and asking for baptism. Have a very interesting group on a Tuesday night now called Google and God, a men's group, probably just how it's been for years, but you tend to get a lot more women than men in a church on a Sunday morning whose partners will drop them off, go to football, pick them up afterwards, the kind of thing. But over time, got into conversation with some of those men and had some very deep conversations. And one guy who was always telling me he didn't believe anything, then would have a great big kind of discussion about some political event or what the church was up to at this point in history, or something he remembered about an Old Testament character. And I said, well, where'd you get all this from? He said, I use Google a lot in my spare time. And we started meeting as a group of men on a Tuesday night and just Googling things that we found challenging to sort of generate discussion, and sitting down and debating and discussing together. And this month we're looking at things like women becoming bishops. We're having an evening which is called Politics and Pizza, where anything could happen. Men seem to be great on their gadgets around here, so we've actually got a night where we're just going to come and bring a favourite gadget to show and see sort of what happens that night. And another night where we're going to explore issues of tolerance and diversity. That's pretty much the February programme. And in March, going on to use two films, Chocolat and Stigmata, and a novel by a chap called Michael Arditi called Easter, to sort of lead us through Lent on a bit of a spiritual journey. Other stuff, Scouts, all that kind of thing has now moved into the building, a drama school, a Spanish evening class that base themselves in the cafe, more children and parents activities than I can remember. So in essence, the building's open all day, every day, as well as a growing number of paid people are involved in the smooth running of the place. We have about 700 hours a month of voluntary work given to the church. Have people like the probation services coming in, doing some landscaping and groundkeeping. And really, I think it has become the hub that we were looking for it to become in the centre of the community. So from what people thought were eccentric beginnings with bonfires and caravans in the garden and wondered who this new gypsy vicar was that they'd acquired, to really what's quite a challenging spiritually as well as